watching famous games on YouTube.
Good morning. What's going on? I'm just going to wait a second or two and make sure that everything's going on this stream here. Looks like we might be going. Let's see. There's a little delay here. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Anyway, welcome. My name is David Lincoln, and we are back for another exciting, fun adventure in the world of GameStop as we look to another trading day. We saw things trade way down yesterday on the close, but then it kind of rallied back, and we got back up to about 130. However, as we approach the open again today, we see things moving lower again. Let's take a quick look at GameStop here. Oh, and before I do that, let me just mention I did reach out to ProShares about the split, upcoming split for UVXY, and I did get a response back, although it's probably not the response that anyone wants to hear, but let's take a look anyways. So they came back and said, "Thanks for your interest. ProShares declines to comment." So that's not really much of a response, but we know they're at least they're out there, and they know that we're waiting for the split at least. It probably takes some paperwork and stuff, and but they seem to be kind of behind where they usually are as far as these split things go. So we'll see what happens. Certainly there's time, and as soon as we know more, we will give you that information. Keep it locked here and also on the Twitter account for updates as soon as they become available. So let's look at the world of GameStop for 1 second. And the reason I show you this is just as an example of a somebody trading this stock. Maybe it will give you some ideas. I don't expect you to follow me. I just think that you might be interested in what my thought process is moving forward. And let's see if I'm just going to post to StockTwits about this right now. So see if we can get a couple more people in here. So let's see. There we go. So yesterday we saw quite a big sell-off, and it's funny, the chat is still full of believers in StockTwits who just don't want to give up on the dream of GameStop going higher. But I think at some point people are going to realize that this is kind of over, at least for now. When we look at the chart behind me, you can see it really tells the story. We had the big up move, a second big up move, and now we've given back over half of all of those moves. So that's kind of where we are right now. And if we look at our position here, we are long 13 deltas here. So really looking for, it would be nice if we could kind of hold the line here for a little, at least till the open. My positions are mainly made up of condors where I was short out of the money call spreads, but I did sell out of the money put spreads against them. So this position makes money if we stay within this range between, let's say, 90 and 160. And so I'm getting kind of pinched to the downside here, and I'm looking on the open to possibly kind of readjust my downside. So move the puts that I'm short a little bit lower. Looking at the position here, maybe the best way to look at it would be to go through the option screens here. So I'm going to switch the view to this custom view I have, which shows my position by strike. So here's the front week stuff, and I did buy this one put spread here, the 110 105, to kind of protect me if it does start to run down to 100. But you can see one short put spread here, there's basically a condor here, the 140.35. So yesterday when we were up higher, I did buy this 140.35 put spread, and then once we blew way through, I sold this other put spread against it. Same thing up higher if we move to the next expiration. When we were higher yesterday, I bought this, or I'm sorry, I sold this call spread, the 165.70, and then once we moved precipitously lower, I sold this put spread against it to turn it into an iron condor. An iron condor being when you sell a call spread and then sell a put spread, and then the area in between, in this case 120 and 165, is your maximum profitability area. But we are starting to get pinched to the downside here, so I need to readjust this put part lower. And I have these puts here, the 195. Those are a little bit safer, but this put spread should probably be adjusted lower. It looks like we could just continue to grind lower here. If we were to stay in this area, that would be the best thing for the position. Like if we could stay at 130 for the next couple weeks, that would work great for me. But once we move out to this next month here, it's the same thing. I'm short the 185.90 call spread, and then I'm short the 90.95 put spread. And so the position, and I'm also short, I'm long the 135.30 put spread, but this position, works the best if we kind of just stay between 100 and 180 in this case. So like right here would be great for us to stay at. Next we have here, and the other thing that can happen, which can make this position work, would be if if we just kind of settle down for the next couple days and volatility comes in, this position I'm short Vega. So you can see the Vega number here, short 9 Vega. So that means if volatility comes in 50 points, right, which is possible, then it would be $9 times 50, which wouldn't be too bad, $400 or $500 for the volatility to come in. And in the meantime, we're collecting a little bit of theta, but this delta starts to bite us as we move lower. If we were to pop back to 150, we'd be in kind of perfect shape. But as we move lower, this delta starts to hurt us. Now, when we're looking at the position, what I like to do is also move the time around so that I can see where I'm going to be in a couple days. So if I move the time forward one day, it doesn't change things much. Couple days doesn't change things much. After expiration, it shows long delta, but that's kind of assuming that we expire right here. We'll certainly adjust the position before then, but you also see the theta kicking up a little bit here as well. So let's go back to today, and then just the last part of looking through the different position here. If we go out to this May, and let's see if we can close this part here. If we go out to May, I have an even wider type condor on. You can see I'm short the 40.35 put spread and the 195.200. So this kind of trade really is a great trade to just, you sell some Vega, this number here, 243, that's pretty high volatility. So you sell, you put this trade on, and as long as stuff kind of stays in orbit here, at some point volatility comes in, and both the put spread and the call spread go down in value as volatility comes in. So kind of what I'm looking for to do today is, when we go back to our Analyze tab and we look at the Greeks here, we can see that I do have this pesky kind of long delta here. It shows long 16 deltas right now. And I would like to just clean that up a little bit, bring that back to, bring the 16 here, which is right behind me, sorry. Bring the 16 delta back down to maybe 0 or negative 16, something like that, because I do anticipate us continuing to grind lower. So I want to address this on the open as soon as possible. And so it would be great for the position if we can kind of hang here and not just bail to the downside. And when we look at the close yesterday and after the close, we started to just really fall off to the downside. We got down to 112 here. That doesn't help. So I was thrilled to see us rally back here to 135, right? And we're back to at least where we closed. So if we could stay, higher here until the open, which is in like an hour, that would give me time once the options open to kind of address the long delta I have here. That's kind of what I'm thinking about now. I don't know if that helps you or not. Let's take a look at GameStop though. There's a bunch of people coming on. People, they don't want to admit that they were wrong and this just went down because earnings weren't so great and there's a possible delusionary event. Everybody wants to point to something, some conspiracy or something why we are lower. And so one of the conspiracies that people are putting out is, oh, well, they're paying people to put bearish comments on StockTwits. Now, I don't know, I can't say for sure that that's not happening, but certainly everybody can make up their own minds. And if you're being affected by, if more bearish comments on StockTwits are going to make you sell your shares if you're long, anyway, I just don't, I don't see this as true. I think it's fake. And then, the whole thing is anybody who's short must be a quote unquote hedge fund X, which I'm not going to say, some sort of, anybody who's short this is like a bad guy or who's being manipulated by a hedge fund or big business, and everybody who's long are the good guys. I don't know where that came from. I think all this stuff really, if you can trace its roots to like Bitcoin and all the hype over crypto when crypto first came out, that whole idea of FUD and HODL and all that. But the reality is a trader should be able to get long, get short, do whatever you want, and one is not like morally superior to the other. It's not like the good guys are long all the time. So, but I think these new people will slowly become educated and will learn that over time. But this is like an education. This whole situation is an education for a whole generation of new traders, and hopefully they will learn some stuff from trading this stuff. It appears to me that a lot of people are real surprised that we've sold off here and are kind of fighting it. In a sense, if you're wrong trading, at some point you got to throw in the towel, right? You can't just sit there and say and be wrong and just fight it. If you bought GameStop, let's just say theoretically you bought GameStop and you got in at a great price, like, I don't know, $20. So you ride it all the way up to $500. At some point, you want to take a profit, right? Now it's $120. Do you really want to ride it all the way back down to $20? Now, I know that there are some people, when GameStop, the first time it went up, they rode it all the way back down to $38, and then it rallied back. But that is a real anomaly. Most of the time in the stock market, you don't get a second rally like we got in GameStop. Let's take a look here just at the 180-day. We had the big spike, then it sold off, and then it kind of came back again, right? And you rarely have that in the stock market where you get a huge, usually it's the big move and then it's over. In this case, we got a big move and a second move. That rarely happens. Now, Lightning is not going to strike 3 times and get another third move. It seems like there's some people that are actually convinced that after all this, it's going to go straight up to like 1,000 or something. But if this was a stock like Tesla that has, insightful technology, has a clear edge, has things going for it, these intangibles like an Elon Musk behind them, with a genius who has all these other irons in the fire, that would be a different story, but it's not. The foundation of this company is not that solid. And thus, these calls that were, we're going to 50,000, 100,000 in the stock are not going to be realized. And my expectation is that this grinds lower to some point, and then finally, the people who are in for a fast buck get out, and people who a new money comes in and buys this at some value, probably much lower than here for the long run, and then this just kind of becomes a normal stock, quote unquote boring normal stock, but it's not owned only by people who are the fast money. Because all these people that the whole Wall Street bets and diamond hands people, they're not in it for the long term. They're in it to make a quick buck, and that's kind of it. And I'm hopeful that some of these people have been able to switch gears. If they've made money, take profits. If they've lost a little money, throw in the towel and move on to something else. Because what I don't want to see is people just they are influenced by other people online, and they just ride it all the way down, and they lose all their profits, or they have these huge losses that continue to mount on them. One of the best ways to make it as a trader is to, whatever losses you have, limit them, cut them off, and go on to something else so that you can be profitable. Now, once again, I'm not the best person to speak to right now because I have had terrible results in GameStop. I was short from down here the second when sorry, it's in the way again, but let me get out of the way here. Once it made this big move to 500 down here, I wrote it down the last little bit, and then I was short on this day when we spiked back to 200, and that just crushed me, right? And I've been short ever since, and yeah, I made some money back when we went down yesterday, but it's been a devastating ride for me. So, I'm not the best person. My P&L does not justify me being some sort of big authority on this issue, which is what trading is sometimes, unfortunately. However, I do know that it's very unlikely that we go and take out that 350 high. There's just not a catalyst out there that can make that happen, in my opinion. Anyway, so there we are with GameStop. That's my position. I'm short. Basically, I have condors on, which means I need the stock to stay between, let's say, here and 160 to make a max amount of money. If we start to break way to the downside, that's going to hurt me. So I'm going to try to clean up my position a little bit today to the downside, and we'll move on from there. As far as the VIX, no word on the split yet from UVXY. Let's take a quick look at. We'll scan the internet right while I have you here just to confirm that once again. And yeah, nothing new in the latest in UVXY. Past 24 hours. And the market, we're seeing E-minis down 16 right now, NASDAQ down 67. Big tech, had a bad, I believe, 2 days. We'll see what happens today. But for me, all eyes still on GameStop as AMC back down yesterday, Riot back down, Mara back down. Stuff comes back to reality, back to a sense of normalcy. We'll see GameStop. I'm thinking it's probably going to continue to crank lower from here, right? As people, despite what they're saying on social media, people continue to throw in the towel on this one, and kind of seems like rightfully so from my perch up here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, put a like down, become a member, support this channel for independent content about your trading life. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on the Short Vol Show Live.
You're watching Famous Game.